Tonight, Sweet 16. The Dow hits a milestone, but are Bears set to crash the party? Jim Rogers invites the discussion on Dobbs. Then, Obamacare's fatal flaw. Not just website glitches, how an overlooked issue could kill the plan. Cavuto exposes the hidden danger.
This first example is a tweet from President Obama. He responded to @LouRobert1. He said, "My pet dog, Bo." Not really sure what he's talking about here. Let's see what he was asked. Who designed the Obamacare website? Oh, I see. Now it makes sense.
Oh, boy. All right. Here's something you can add to your list of healthcare hazards. Hackers. We already knew the Obamacare website was expensive and ineffective, but a hearing today on Capitol Hill highlighted the fact that it's also a prime target for hackers. Initial reports claim the website had been hit 16 times by cyber attacks, but the experts today say it's way more than that. Listen to this.
The talk that this attack has only happened 16 times and the website has only been attacked 16 times is not possible. The attacks that happen on the internet are so frequently used and so frequently done that means that there's not much detection capabilities on healthcare.gov.
Congressman Bill Johnson participated in those hearings today. He is here along with former White House Chief Information Officer Teresa Payton. Thanks to both of you. Congressman, let me start with you. What stuck out to you today about the hearing?
Well, what stuck out to me is that Mr. Chow admitted in our hearing that the security control assessments that were supposed to be done had not been done. And when he was questioned on why they weren't done, he didn't have any good answers, and he keeps talking about the fact that they're going to be done. You know, you can't mitigate the risk of an information system of this complexity and magnitude in the future. You have to do it as you're building it, so that when you go live, you eliminate those security risks. It boggles my mind that they talk about a mitigation strategy as simply having a mitigation strategy. Mitigate is a verb, and it means that you fix things before they become serious risks.
So, Teresa, what information is on there that the average person should be worried is getting out? I mean, what are hackers going after?
Well, you know, first of all, I've had more questions than answers, but based on some of the answers I heard today, I'm very alarmed. And one thing that we heard today that if you accidentally type in a semicolon instead of a period, you're going to go to a fraudster's website. That's a known common practice of cyber criminals. That causes me great concern that they didn't think about that in advance.
So, Teresa, how do you guard against that? As somebody who's an expert in this, I mean, what should they have done differently? Is it easy to protect against that?
It absolutely is easy. You use user acceptance testing to first do all the things that we do because we're busy and distracted when we're doing stuff. We're on little tiny screens sometimes on our mobile devices, or we're in a hurry when we're on our computer. So you act like a real user and you break the system. The second piece is you bring in ethical hackers and you ask the security experts to break the system, and you ask their professional advice. Would you turn this system on to the general public with these vulnerabilities open? And it looks like those two things have not been done.
Congressman, I mean, what's your impression from the hearing today? Were those two things done?
Oh, absolutely not. They were not done. I sat right there during the hearing and actually typed in a semicolon, and I showed Mr. Chow that concept called SQL injectors and how they could be used by hackers to break into the system. And he didn't have any good answers. And this is exactly the kind of thing, like Ms. Payton said, that would be found in a really comprehensive security control assessment and testing the system and acting like an end user and trying to break it. And that's not what's been done here.
Especially in these days when it's so obvious and it's so expected that if you have a website that has valuable information on it, it's going to get hacked. Teresa, let me ask you, because there was an expert earlier today on Fox News Channel that did a secure Google search and was able to come up with the names, and I think we can show it on our screen, was able to come up with the names of people who had gone on and registered for the site, their full name, the time they had done it, what had gone on, just by doing a Google search. That is bizarre to me. How dangerous is that?
It's very dangerous. We know that hackers have been waiting for the right opportunity to get at Americans' information to do identity takeover. And we should have been testing this. We should have been doing these use case scenarios before and after the system went live. And the fact that we have people who are, just trying to act like the customers of this system, showing us we have these vulnerabilities without very techie testing is absolutely scary.
So, Congressman, what are you demanding now? What's the fix?
Well, they've got to go back. Well, first of all, I've maintained from the very beginning, this website cannot be fixed. I can tell you in my 30 years of information technology experience, having developed and implemented systems of this magnitude, the problems were created at the very beginning when the requirements were defined in the design and the development stage. We found out today that some 40% of the system has yet to be built. And yet they continue to assert that security is fine. Well, it's not. These SQL injection techniques that hackers use, it's one of the most common ways of breaking into systems, and our people, the American people, are seriously at risk.
Teresa, do you agree with that? Can this system be fixed, or does it need to be started over from scratch?
While the White House is hitting the reset button on Obamacare just in general, I think it's time for us to hit the power off button on the system. At a minimum, we need to get a list of the security vulnerabilities, take the system offline, fix those vulnerabilities before we bring it back online. We need to do this now while the information that's in the system and the volumes are lower. It's very difficult to change this as the volumes will get higher, and we know they will, and as there's more data housed in this system.
Yeah, Congressman, do you think all the publicity surrounding what a mess the website has been and how hard it's been to use made it more interesting to hackers?
Well, I think so. It certainly has drawn their attention to it. That's why I've been intentionally vague here about exactly how to go about using those SQL injectors, although I'm sure hackers that are paying attention know without me telling them. But I certainly believe that hackers, like Ms. Payton said, that are looking for ways to steal identities, and rip the American people off from their personal finances and other private information, you can better believe that they're looking at this as an open door.
Yeah, what a mess. All right, thanks to both of you. We appreciate the information.
Thank you.
From the U.S. to every corner of the globe, money has been flying around the world today. First to Russia. The doping lab for the Sochi Olympic Games is about to be suspended if it doesn't make significant changes in the next 2 weeks. The ultimatum was handed down by the World Doping Agency, which said the lab needs to, quote, engage independent quality experts. The Russian sports minister says they will comply with the instructions. That would be good, given that the Moscow lab is affiliated with is the only fully accredited testing center in Russia. Next to Japan, thousands gathered and cheered in the streets as Caroline Kennedy passed through Tokyo. The American, obviously political royalty in her own right, on her way to meet with Emperor Akihito. She is the first female ambassador to Japan from the U.S. Kennedy traveled in a century-old horse-drawn carriage. The ceremony marked the official start of her duties. And landing in Greece, some good news for the Greeks.